welcome to more No Man's Sky. It is really late right now. I need to work on my sleeping schedule. Because basically, I think a couple of days ago, I just didn't go to sleep, and then I went to bed really late the next day. Then I woke up at 5, so that was, and it's late right now. I really need to, especially because, here's something. Walmart called me yesterday, I think. Either way, they called me. This week they finally got back to me, and basically, because the whole thing with Walmart is first I applied online. You had to do an assessment. Then they eventually got around to calling me. Then they had me come in for an interview. Then I passed that interview, so they let me do a different one because everything had to pass. The assessment I had to pass, everything had to pass. So I did the interview. Then they called me. Then I went to the second interview, and then they didn't call me for I think 3 weeks, or something. Because it was a whole thing. So trying to get this job with Walmart has been a huge process. So when they had me call in, it was so funny. The first time they called me, because it was they were telling me where to go, and I swear the way I was told, it was okay, you need to find a boat. On the boat there'll be a Frenchman. The Frenchman has the directions to the secret location in India. In the Indian location, you'll find a map. Map will point you to a secret temple in Peru. In Peru, you'll find a teleporter to bring you into space. In space, you'll need to choose whether to side with the Russian or the German. If you side with the German, the Earth will not be destroyed. However, it will be taken over. If you side with the Russian, it will be destroyed. Some people believe that siding with the German is the best choice. However, siding with the Russian is canon, so that's what you're going to do. You know what I mean? But basically, just told me to go to the back, but they're describing it in lots of details like that. In some movies or some commercials where they're describing, I met a man who knew I don't know. Basically, I described. I'm not gonna think of a second example because I'm bad at thinking of examples. So, but and then there was this whole thing because they wanted references, which is fine because I have references. But it was a whole mess, right? Because basically they said they only wanted 2 references, so I brought 2 references, and they didn't like one of them. So I was like, okay, well I'll get a different one, no problem, and I did. The first reference, apparently one of the digits they couldn't read. I think I was fairly legible, but fair enough. It was either a 6 and they thought it was a 0, or else it was a 0 and they thought it was a 6. That said, if there's something where I'm trying to put in numbers and someone's written it down, and it doesn't work, I will try. If it is something like that, I will try. Or if it's something where it could be a 7 or a 1, I'll try the variations. And that probably wouldn't have been too hard. And then, but I did give them the other reference that they wanted. But it was so weird trying to get the references to them because, basically, I'll try to explain it like this. Person A, and by the way, look at that zebra with horns or whatever. It's not really a zebra, but I don't know what else to call it. That thing. I just think that looks awesome. I don't know. People don't like this game; they get bored of it. But I think just for stuff like that, I'm easily entertained. Though, I've been entertained literally for I don't know, half an hour or so just by watching water bubbles. So yeah, it's not. Although I hate Zen. Let me try that again. I hate very Zen games. I hate games that are too Zen because it's I want to do something. Thank you. But this game is good because it's kind of Zen, but you're also doing stuff. So it's exactly, it's exactly the kind of game that I would like. But anyways, back to my point. So it was person A called me and said, well, you couldn't get in contact with the reference you did provide us, and we need you to provide that second one like you said you would. Even though I had already done that, I'd already called in and provided them with that reference. So I was like, okay, I will try to figure out why you couldn't get in touch with the reference I did provide, and I will call back. And because that's what they wanted, I could have given them the information while they were on the phone, but they wanted me to call back, so whatever. So I looked into it. I made sure that I had the right number, and I did. I called the number, made sure it worked, whatever. And then I called back, and I was on hold for I don't know, an hour or something. I was on hold for ever. I was like, well, that's great. Asked me to call back and then put me on hold. And the person who put me on hold, by the way, that is bad customer service. I have worked customer service, and you aren't supposed to if someone because sometimes it's unavoidable where people will be on hold for an hour, but typically you just want to check in on them, right? Just sort of make sure they're okay, make sure they know you haven't forgotten about them. So I just hung up and went on and been like, they'll probably call. They did, but it did take them a while, and it was basically when I did call in to provide the second reference, it was person B, because it's basically like the person who was calling me to set up. And I realize I'm not explaining this very well, but let me start from the beginning. Let me try again. So the person who was calling me to set up all the interviews, that's person A, right? And that's the person who wanted me to call and give them the second reference, but she wanted me to call person B, right? And to ask for him specifically. So that's what I did. I gave him the second reference, and I thought it was fine. But then later, person A calls and says, well, we need that second reference, and also that she couldn't call reference or the first reference, right? And then that was when I called back and was on hold for a while. But then after that, like a while after that, person B called, and I tried to give him the second reference. He's like, no, I already have it. And I didn't say this, but I'm like, well, then why was I called and told that you don't, right? But we got the first reference at least figured out. And the thing he said too that was kind of dumb was he said he implied that I didn't give them as many references as would have been preferable. But it's like, dude, you people told me specifically that you only want 2. If you wanted more than 2, I could have done that. But you only wanted 2. So, and Walmart's really persnickety about references, like the kind they'll accept. It's kind of weird. At least the Walmart I applied to, it's really persnickety. But because they won't accept volunteer references. So even if you volunteered at somewhere like Valley Village or something that would give you retail experience, they wouldn't accept it, which is weird. But yeah, so it was a whole thing. And then after that, they didn't call for a while, and I don't know why, but because they did call the references pretty quickly, but they just didn't call me back for a while. But they're gonna have me come in on a different day than they told me, because they said it was gonna be a Monday for sure. No matter what, it was always gonna be on a Monday. But they're having me come in on a Wednesday, so whatever, right? They're gonna have me come in, and they want me to bring in my banking information, all that stuff. So I assume I have the job. Obviously, it's going to be on a probation at first, but I assume I have the job and I will be getting paid. So that'll be pretty nice. Hope it works out. Mainly, I forget what my title is. And here's that stupid holding X bug. But I forget what my title is, but my job title. But it's something like experienced salesperson. I'm not that I'm experienced, but I'm selling experiences. I don't know. But basically, I basically zone areas and stock shelves and direct people in the right direction and that kind of stuff. I'm going to be happiest when I'm in the electronics section. That's going to be my happiest section, to be honest. But, should be an enjoyable job altogether. I did have, because I've been trying to look for work forever, and there's been a lot of options that haven't really worked, but I did have, while I was waiting on Walmart, and this was a little bit frustrating, I had other options I could have applied to, and basically when they called, that was the last day I was giving them before I started applying for their stuff. But I had a job, there was a cleaning job at the call center I used to work, which would have been nice, I guess. There was which would have been part-time, which, to be fair, I do kind of need the money from a full-time job, which the Walmart job may or may not be. We're not clear on that yet. I think it just depends on how much they need me, basically. So, but it would have been a part-time job, so I do probably need the money from a full-time job, but I only want to work part-time because I'm lazy. I do want to work, I just, only want to work part-time. Although, to be fair, when I was working at the call center, we were working 9 hours a day, and I did try to get overtime whenever I could. Another cleaning job at the military base, which would have possibly needed security clearance. That's something I could have potentially tried for. And then someone might have been able to get me a job as a flag bearer. And I should have just said screw Walmart and try to get that job. That would have been probably more enjoyable to me. But yeah, I just decided to stick with Walmart. The biggest thing about Walmart though is the stock options, and that's going to be really good. That'll be something I'll enjoy. Is getting some, being able to exercise that, because yeah, I do try to invest in Walmart. It's a fairly good company to invest in, I guess, and yeah, I think that would be pretty good. I guess that covers the whole thing about Walmart. Yeah, I don't really have anything lined up to talk about. I just kind of started talking about that, and so I don't know what to move on to next. So this is like, I think, yeah, this is the vehicle guy, and he was introduced in Pathfinder. He tries to act like he doesn't want to work for you, but really he does. I don't know what it meant there, inventory full, because it's not full. I can't make those cells. I think, even like in this or at any point in that I've gotten to, not at this point where this video is, and not at any of the not where I am past this video. I don't think I can make this voltaic, or if that's what they're called. I don't remember. What is this? Voltaic. I'm not even trying to pronounce it. I'm bad at pronouncing certain things. Voltaic, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I'm probably pronouncing that way wrong. Sounding like an idiot. But yeah, I don't think I can make those. So, yeah. So here in 2 seconds, you'll see this is going to look really weird. Yeah, because of the stupid glitch. Here's something I should talk about. I should talk about the TSX. It'd be perfectly boring and talk about investing. No, it's been so weird, the TSX, and I think I did talk about the drop that happened a while ago. But yeah, it's been weird because of it's been things like keeping it a little bit down, and it has reached relative lows, but minding that those lows were reached at highs, so it's not as bad as reaching lows when you're already down. But I forget what it was for. It was the lowest it's been in months, but I forget how many months that it reached a while ago. I don't remember off the top of my head, but because of the whole Bank of Canada introducing higher interest rates, that's caused it to sort of go down, and there's been nervousness and sell-off and that kind of stuff. It is starting to go back up, it seems like. So hopefully that'll continue. It, obviously, things just on a sort of daily basis do flux, and you ought not to worry about that. You ought to worry about where is this going to be in 30 years, because that's what's more important. Unless you're 70, in which case that's you might not have those 30 years to wait. But it's kind of funny, because my portfolio is fairly in line with the TSX, and it's kind of interesting. When my portfolio goes up, it's good. The TSX has typically, and when my portfolio goes down, the TSX also has. I have been getting a better rate of return than the TSX, but here this monolith is one I already went to, but I accidentally went to again because I don't know if there's any way of knowing if you've been to it or not. I should have figured because it's close, but I don't know what is happening there either. Me trying to land, or why I killed that giraffe, but that was completely uncalled for. But it's fun seeing why the TSX goes up and down, because it'll be TSX goes up because of modest gains from financials and a big gains from fertilizer companies. I'm really, fertilizer companies are what's holding us up today. That's okay. They're what's brought us up. Yeah, and then the TSX can change a lot in one day. It can be up by considerable amount towards the beginning of the day, but then towards the end of the day it can start to really go down. One of the things about the rising interest rates is in Canada, I think it's for every dollar of debt, there's a dollar 60, something like that, of consumer debt. So that's not mortgage. It's just consumer debt, right? That's all it is. So the whole rising interest rates can hurt people who have too much debt, but at the same time, it is meant to sort of lower the amount of debt people have, because hopefully they won't be getting into debt so foolishly. But that is one of the effects. I don't have any debt, so what do I care? But that is one of the things people with that, and also people with mortgages who are already struggling to make the payments, they're gonna feel it. But that's the end of the video. So if you liked it, please give it a like and have a great rest of your day.